Arise, Queens. This is the All Queens Army, where women are provided with the tools you need to overcome your fears, face your flaws, and experience breakthroughs as you develop self-esteem so strong you emanate royalty. Now, for your host and commander of the All Queens Army, Breizy Time.
Welcome to the All Queens Army podcast. This is your girl, your host, Breizy Time. I am here today with another dope episode for the Queens. Yes, honey, it is another beautiful motivational Monday, and I'm super excited to be in your ears once again because you queens are always in my heart. You know that. I love you. Today's episode is so good, so good. Before we get into today's topic of what I'm going to motivate you about, because you queens already know I'm going to motivate the shit out of you, okay? So before we get into the dope motivation that I have for you on this beautiful Monday, I want to announce a couple really quick things, so hold tight. Give me 1 minute and then we'll get right to the content, okay? First thing, new website. I've announced it pretty much every episode since we started season 3. We got a new website. We got upgraded, y'all, honey. Let me upgrade you. Yes, I upgraded the website because the All Queens Army community is growing, honey. There are more queens now than ever. There's so much more content that I've put out on the website. We've also started the motivational blog, so I type a motivational blog for the queens every Thursday at 6 a.m. It's the perfect time for you to read while you're drinking your coffee, drinking your tea, starting your day, to get doused with some dope ass motivation. So that's there for you on Thursdays. There are e-courses that have been dropped. There are 5 e-courses that tie into some of the podcast episodes. So the episodes where there's some action to be taken, where you may have to go a little bit deeper to resolve and overcome some of the things that you're working on in your life, I've created those e-courses for you. They are out there. There's also a resource page. So some of the episodes also refer back to an activity or an exercise. It's usually something that's a one-pager, really quick for you to do. Those are also on the website. So we have that for you queens as well. And then last but not least, if you have not subscribed to the All Queens Army podcast, please do so. Go to allqueensarmy.com, click on the subscribe tab. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes. So every time a new episode drops, you'll get a notification so that you know that we're here. Okay, now with that being said, queens, we're going to jump into today's content. Now, I want to say that this week's episode is going to be something else, okay? It really is. I mean, I'm going to motivate the shit out of you. But if you listen to last week's episode, I was joking with you queens about maybe last week's episode might have ruffled some feathers, maybe pissed some people off. I don't know if everybody got to the end of it because I was holding you queens accountable for your actions, okay? Hopefully, the more that we talk about evolution, evolving, healing, growing, all of those things, like getting yourself to a point in your life where you're the one that's in control of what's going on in your life, good and bad, kind of making sure that you're taking accountability for the things that aren't going the way you want so that you can change it, and then learning how to manifest the shit that you do want in your life, how to manifest all the good things that you want, all of your goals and achieving the things that you've longed for, okay? So that's where we are. We're at a place where we have to realize that in order for us to get the things that we want, we have to take accountability for being where we are, for manifesting things that we don't want, and then learning how to turn that around so that we're manifesting the things that we do want, okay? So last week's episode, I was really honing in on the queens, really focusing on us. What do we need to do differently? What do we need to change? What can we learn? How can we evolve? We taking accountability for us, okay? And taking our power back so that we're not giving so much of our power to things and people outside of us and expecting that shit to change. We can't change things outside of us. The only thing we can change is us. And that's actually perfect because it's us that needs to make the changes, okay? We have to make the changes so that we can manifest different things into our lives. So hopefully you queens didn't get mad at me last week, because I'll say this. If you got a little annoyed last week, or you were feeling a little defensive, like, no, girl, this ain't me, fuck this. If that's how you were feeling last week, totally fine. I get that frequent enough that I'm used to that response, but I will say this. If you felt like that last week, you're probably going to feel like that this week too, okay? But it doesn't matter, okay? Because queens, you know that everything I say to you, I say with love and with compassion. I'm not saying anything in a judgmental way because I'm always talking about myself too. And I always share openly some of the things that I've experienced or things that I'm still overcoming or things that I still struggle with. We're all talking to each other. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to me. I'm preaching to you. I'm preaching to me. I'm motivating you. I'm motivating the shit out of myself too, okay? So don't get defensive, queens. Just be open enough to hear me out. And you may see some things within yourself that you want to work on. And that's always a good thing, okay? So don't be mad. I love you. It's all coming from a love place, okay, queens? So what is this episode all about? What the hell am I ranting and raving about? Well, let me say this. Today's episode is for the queens who always say things like, he's so sweet, but he's not my type. Or I hear this all the time too. Oh my gosh, he does all of the things that I like, but I'm not attracted to him. This is a common theme that I see all the time, where women are complaining or frustrated about their current situation, whether it's dating or they're engaged or they're in a relationship. They're looking for a certain type of man. Like they're looking for a man with certain characteristics, with certain personality traits, sometimes even with certain physical attributes. Most women have a list of what it is that they're looking for in a relationship or what it is that they're looking for from a man or from a woman. I see it all the time where you're attracted to, liking, entertaining, dating, messing around with a guy who you like, who you're interested in, who you hope he'll get his shit together, quote unquote. It's like something that he's not doing. Maybe he's not committing. Maybe he's not being honest. Maybe he's still cheating. Whatever it is, maybe he's not opening up to you. I see this all the time, queens, and you're sitting there liking this dude, frustrated, venting about the shit he's not doing right, the things you want him to do better. Meanwhile, you have a guy in your life somewhere who is in love with you, obsessed with you, loves your stinky drawers. But you say things like, oh, well, he's not my type. And you say things like, but I'm not attracted to him. I've even heard things like, girl, he is so corny. Girl, what is going on? So that's what this episode is all about. I want to say that I am also guilty. Oh my gosh. Queens, I'm super guilty of the same thing. I will also say that some of my friends and some of my family members who are happily married were also guilty of the very same thing as well. When I say guilty of it, I'm talking about guilty of wanting a guy, being attracted to a guy, dating a guy, liking a guy, and just being in that limbo scenario where he's not really giving you what you want. You're not really getting what you need from that relationship. You just want him to get it together. You want him to change. You're trying to talk to him. You're trying to explain to him what you need him to do. It's not working. It's not happening, right? But this is who you're attracted to. It's almost like you're chasing him because he ain't getting it. He ain't doing what you need him to do. Meanwhile, you have the other dude over here who's super in love with you. He's super nice, super patient. He's waiting for his opportunity, but you're not attracted to him. That's what I mean. I'm guilty of that. I did that for years. And so now that I'm on the other side of it, in hindsight, when I look back and I see women doing the same thing or saying the same thing, very similar to what I was saying and how I was feeling. One, I can relate to you, queens. Again, I'm not being judgmental. I can totally relate because I used to feel that way. I have a perspective on it and I want to share my perspective of it, of how I kind of shifted my mindset and moved from that perspective. So I no longer look at things like that anymore, but I just find it funny and I find it interesting because I can totally relate. And I remember when I used to think that way, and I know how frustrating it feels when it's like the guy who likes you and the guy who's probably right for you and who would treat you like a queen. Yeah, you don't really like him. And it feels difficult because you can't force yourself to like him. It's like, I want to try to like him, but he ain't the one. I'm not attracted. It's like he kind of turns me off. But then you got this sexy one who you just look at him and you melt and your whole panties just come off. And you know what I mean? And he is not right for you. But for some reason, this man gets your heart pumping, honey. The butterflies is going. You find him super attractive. He is it for you. So queens, let's talk about that. I really would have loved to have a guest on today's show just to talk about like the differing perspectives and different viewpoints in both sides of this. Since it's just me, what I want to do is invite some of you queens to talk about this. So please comment. When you hear this episode, if you want to comment and you want to chime in, just do me a favor. Either chime in the comments of this post on Instagram or Facebook, or go to the All Queens Army website and go to episode 45, and you can actually leave comments on the website, because I really do want to hear what some of you other queens have to say about this, because now that I feel like I'm on the other side of this, I have a different perspective and I don't want to be biased, right? So the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because it's like a phenomenon, okay? It actually makes me laugh when I read the comments and talk to some of you queens and hear you queens justify why you're not into the guy who's into you. And since I'm on the other side of it now, where I used to feel exactly how you queens feel, I totally can relate. I remember exactly how it feels, because it wasn't that long ago. We're talking about just 6 years ago. I was thinking the same thing. So what I wanted to do was just share with you queens how I changed my perspective. And now I'm married to the guy who was I'm not into him, I don't like him. I married that guy. And so many women that I am friends with, even women that I just randomly meet, have that similar story, queens. So when I hear you ladies say things like that, it makes me smile, because really what I see sometimes is the husband that you so long for could be sitting right there in your face, queen, and you have no idea that this is the man that will love the shit out of you, okay? So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about it from my experience. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, for me, I was attracted to all the wrong kind of guys, okay? I always was attracted to men who were not emotionally available. It was literally like a broken record. Like I would get out of one relationship and jump into another relationship. It was a different person, but it was like the same core issue that I was experiencing over and over and over, right? I was attracted to the type of guy who you felt all ooey gooey and jiggly wiggly inside, right? The butterflies in the stomach. It was like a rush for me. And I was also attracted to guys who could dress really, really well, and a guy with swag and a guy with confidence, things like that. That was the kind of guy that I was looking for. I wanted a man who had good credit, and I wanted a man who my son could have a good relationship with, and I wanted a man who was uber attractive. I wanted a man who was on the athletic side. I wanted a man who owned his own house, or at least had an apartment. I wanted a man who had a career and was making decent money. I wanted a man who had one or less kids, because I didn't feel like dealing with a whole bunch of bullshit and a whole bunch of baby mama drama and all that kind of stuff. I definitely did not want someone who had already been married and divorced. That just wasn't my thing. So those were the type of things that I was looking for. And then I had the guys that I had friend zoned who would treat me like a queen, who was so patient, so attentive. They wanted to spend every day with me, that literally were head over heels in love with me, that would drink my dirty ass bath water, that wanted to just showcase me all over the world and post me and talk about me and big me up and say how much they were in love with me and rub my feet, all of these good things, right? But I ain't like it. I didn't like it. I thought they were corny. Oh, they're a pushover. It's not exciting. You know what I mean? Like, I can kind of get over on him. Oh, he's a mama's boy. Oh, he's too sensitive. And the list went on and on and on. And so it finally got to a point when I started working on myself. And I tell this story all the time. When it got to a point where I started working on self-love, accepting me, loving me, focusing on me. Pretty much everything that I talk about every single week on the podcast is just focusing on yourself, learning how to love yourself, learning how to value yourself, learning how to build boundaries, learning what you will accept, learning what you won't accept, learning how to heal some of your pains and some of your hurts and traumas and things that you've gone through. There were a couple of years in my life where I really took a step back and I had to focus on myself and focus on that stuff, because what I was doing is I was walking around and I was just creating little fires everywhere. Did you guys watch that show, by the way? Anyway, I was literally creating little issues in every little thing I was doing, because I was walking around unhealed with wounds from broken hearts, from disappointment, from relationships not working. And literally every time I moved forward without healing myself from the previous situation, without learning why I tolerated or I allowed certain things, without learning why I was hoping for and searching for certain things in people, I was just making more of a mess. So it got to a point where I really decided to focus on myself and start healing all of those little wounds that I had accumulated over the years from dating and disappointment and frustrations. And then after I started to heal myself, I started loving myself more. I started appreciating myself more. I started valuing myself more. And I also started to take a look at the things that I was looking for in a spouse. I was looking at that list that I made, like, what is important to me? What is it that I'm looking for? And then I started questioning, like, why am I looking for this? Like, why is it that important to me that the person that I'm with have an athletic build? And I'm going to be very transparent right now. The reason that it was so important to me that the guy that I I was with was built and had a six-pack and was super sexy and super buff was because I was insecure about my own body. See, a lot of times, queens, what we look for and what we want in other people is what we're lacking, what we don't have, what we haven't accomplished, what we are looking for within ourselves. Because I can tell you right now, once you get to a point where you accept yourself for you and you love yourself for you, once you become all of the things that you're looking for, you stop looking for it. You don't even need it anymore because you've done it for yourself. And so I hope that I was able to articulate that really well for you queens. If not, let me say it again real quick. I took a look at the list that I had made of the things that I was looking for. What is it that I want in a man? What is it that I want in a relationship? And when I started to break down the why do I need certain things, I started looking at myself and saying, you know what? Why is it so important that the man is built and buff and muscle bound and six-packed? Why is that important? So first of all, muscles and an athletic build is not something that a person can even sustain for their whole life. So why is that important? And what would happen, once he started to get older, and what if he got a little bit of a beer belly? Would I still love him the same? Would I be faithful? Would I be loyal? Do I really love this person? Or am I looking for something else? And I started to question that. And when I started to question that, what I realized is that, shit, I had gained some weight over the years. I no longer had that sexy body that I once had when I was younger, okay? I no longer had the flat stomach, the nice boobs, and the round booty. I no longer had that. I had gained weight. So I was on the thick side. Now, mind you, I still liked my shape, but deep down inside, of course, I had some insecurities about my weight. And what I learned was I was looking for in someone else what I felt I was lacking. That's what I was looking for. So why is this something that's on my list? Why is this important? What are the things that I need in a relationship, in a marriage, in a man that's going to make me feel safe, secure, loved, appreciated, all of the things that I want to feel? What are those things? And it damn sure isn't a six-pack, because a lot of dudes, a lot of men have a six-pack and treat you like shit. I have been with guys with the sexiest body and did not treat me good at all. So I had to really question that. And then I crossed it off my list. I just decided to cross it off. I was like, you know what? Because it's not that important. Not for the long haul. Maybe for a fling, maybe for a quick little relationship, maybe for a little something. You know what I mean? Maybe for a little night, little roll in the hay, but not for a marriage. See, when you start to look at being with someone for the rest of your life, when you truly start thinking about what it is that you need to be committed to someone every single day, it starts to go past the physical attributes. It starts to go past that. It starts to get deeper than that. So luckily for me, I was able to cross that off my list. And then I started doing that same exercise with a lot of the other things that were important to me. And what I found is most of the things, not all, most of the things that when I met a guy that made me say, oh, I like him. Oh, I'm attracted to him. Oh, I'm interested in him. A lot of those things that made me feel those quick emotions of I like him were things that I was lacking. I did not have. I needed to work on those things within myself. And once I started to heal all of those things, once I started realizing that I needed to fill the voids myself of all of the things that I was looking for outside of myself, that was the work that I did. I started working on myself. If my requirement was he had a fledgling career, shit, I needed to have a fledgling career. Why am I worried about what kind of career he has? I need to focus on my own career. If I was worried about him having good credit, why am I worried about his credit? Let me work on my own damn credit. The things that you're attracted to that you want in someone else are voids that you have in your life, things that you don't have for yourself. Queens, listen, you don't want to fill the gap that way. You don't want to fill the gap that way because what happens is if that person ever decided that they didn't want to love or be committed to you anymore, then there goes your void and you're back at square one. And not only at your square one, you're actually at square zero because you've also lost a little bit of your dignity, a little bit of your confidence, a little bit of your self-esteem went out the door with it because you've tied it into someone else. Once I started doing some of that work and I started evaluating what it is that I liked so much about some of those guys that really weren't worth my damn time, these people represent something that I am missing in myself. And it's like you hold on to the 2 or 3 things that this person has that you're lacking, and everything else that you say you want go out the window because you're so busy trying to fill voids that you don't even realize that a person who loves you for exactly who you are with all of your flaws, you're not paying attention to, not valuing, not caring about a person who loves you for exactly who you are, flaws and all. And let me explain to you why I'll speak for myself. I think this about y'all too, but I'm not going to say it because y'all can get mad at me, right? When there's a person in your life who genuinely just loves you for no other reason, flaws and all, no expectations, like you can completely be yourself, goofy, funny looking, passing gas, whatever. You can do anything around this person and they don't judge you. They don't talk shit about you. They don't criticize you. They don't expect anything from you. Literally, they just genuinely love you. When you genuinely love yourself that way, that deep, honey, that person who loves you like that will be the sexiest goddamn person you ever seen. That shit will turn you on more than you have ever been turned on. That's what changed for me. Once I started doing that self-love and that self-reflection shit, and I started really picking apart, why was I so into this guy who was not giving me half of what I needed? What was it about him? What need was I feeling by chasing after this? What was it? Why was I so stupidly attracted to this shit? Once I started identifying that, holy shit, this person represented all of the little voids and all of the little holes and all of the little insecurities that I carry within myself, that's what I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to the fact that this person is super fucking confident and I'm walking around with some insecurities. I'm trying to feed off of his confidence. I want some of that to rub off on me. Women who are not financially secure. Sometimes you're looking for the man to bring in all the money. You want a rich dude because you're trying to feed off of him. You want him to fill that void. You want him to give you something into your life that you don't have. Sometimes women have bad credit. Yeah, you may be working on it, but you fucked your credit up a little while ago because you did something bad. You learned from it, but you don't want anybody who did the same thing. Why? Because you're trying to fill a void. Well, what's wrong with the guy who's in the same place as you if you guys can do it together? What's wrong with that? See, somebody doesn't have to be somewhere that you're not. The only thing that you can attract is what you are. And when you're chasing after people, notice that you're hoping that they commit. You're hoping that they fall in love with you. You're hoping that they tell you what you want to hear. You're hoping that they finally choose you. You're hoping that they finally settle down with you. You're chasing. You're chasing it because it's something that you want. And again, queens, I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to say y'all. Let me just say me. Let me own this. Maybe y'all can relate, but let me own this because this is where I was. And I did that for years until I finally got tired of it. And when I got tired of it and I did that self-reflection and I realized, hey, I'm kind of liking dudes and wanting dudes and chasing after dudes who have something that, yeah, I find it super attractive because it's something I'm lacking. But if I fix that in myself, if I work on my own body so that I find myself attractive or work on my mindset to make sure that I find myself super attractive, then I won't need to find someone super attractive because I feel that about myself. Some of this will go over some of your heads because you're not going to see it that way. You're going to say, oh no, honey, I need to be attracted to him. Baby, heal some of them wounds. Fix some of that shit within you. Learn how to fill some of those voids. Step your game up and become what it is that you expect him to be. And I guarantee you, you won't even be attracted to the same type of guy anymore because what you need from love, what you need from relationships, what you need from long-term partnership will start to look different. You won't care about certain things anymore. Once you start healing parts of yourself, it's certain things that you just don't even care about anymore. So once I started healing certain things of myself, my now husband, who had been my Facebook friend for about 10 years, who was my boyfriend when I was like 13, and then we lost touch when I was like 14, and I hadn't really spoken to him. He found me on Facebook and we reconnected, but we never talked. Nothing kicked off. We were just Facebook friends. He was in a relationship. I was in a relationship. Then he wasn't. Then I wasn't. He would shoot me messages and tell me, oh, you're going to be my wife one day, and you the one who got away. I've always loved you. You were always the woman that I wanted to marry. And I thought it was corny. He's too soft. He's too sensitive. Girl, I would run all over top of him. Baby, today, those are all of the things that I am absolutely smitten and in love with about my husband. I love the fact that my husband would do anything for me. I love the fact that my husband will just say, yes, Bree, fine, Bree, whatever you want to do, Bree, wherever you want to go, Bree. I don't need to feel like, oh, he won't let me run all over top of him. Well, why would he need to not let me run all over top of him? I wouldn't want to. Why would I want to run all over top of him? Why would I try to run over top of someone who I know loves the shit out of me? I don't even want to do that. When you truly love somebody, you don't even have that desire. desire. So if you don't have the desire, then it's not even a requirement that the man holds his ground or don't let her run over top of you. When you love him, you won't. You will never run over top of him. So he could be as nice as he want to be. He could just give me all of his money, all of his time, all of his energy, all of his blood. He could offer me every penny he had and go bankrupt, and I wouldn't take it, because I would never take advantage of a person who genuinely loves my stinky drawers. So it doesn't matter that he is a pushover. And I'm calling my husband out, but he is such a nice, sweet, gentle person. And for me, that wasn't attractive 6-7 years ago. I wasn't attracted to that. I thought it was a pushover. I thought it was corny. I thought he was too soft. I don't like that. I like guys who got a little more umph in them. I want them to have super swag drizzled down to their feet. Why? What does that bring to a partnership for the rest of my life? See, once I finally healed all of that shit in me that I was missing, I was able to see and recognize and appreciate and value genuine love. Because at the end of the day, all that mattered was how he treats me, how he makes me feel, and the fact that I know that man will do any goddamn thing for me. Whatever it is that I want to do, want him to do to make me happy, of course within reason, because he knows I wouldn't even ask him for nothing ridiculous, but I know he'd do it. To me, he loved me before I even loved me. To me, he loved me before I could even love myself properly. And that's what I fell in love with. Forget the 6-pack, forget the best credit in the world, forget all of that. That's shit we can build together. Together, we can rebuild credit as a partnership, because that's what a marriage is. Together, we can build a fledgling career, because that's what a partnership is. See, you're not going to always meet the person and the relationship is what you want your marriage to be. You meet the person who is your partner in creating the relationship that you wanted. It's a partnership. You work together. Some women will get hung up on he's too short, he's too tall, he's too fat, he's too corny, he doesn't know how to dress, he's a mama's boy, he's this, he's that. The bottom line is, would he do anything for you? Is he loyal to you? Would he be honest with you? Is he willing to work with you? Is he ready to mature? He's not going to do everything right. We don't either. But is he willing to work on it? Does he understand that it's going to take time? It's going to take patience. It's going to take work. Is he loyal? Does he love your ass, girl? When you say things like, I'm not attracted to him, I challenge you, queens, to ask yourself, then what is it that you're attracted to? Look at some of the guys that you currently date, or that you find attractive, or that you're spending time with, or that you're in a situationship with, or even if it's your boyfriend today or your fiance today and the relationship just isn't exactly where you want it to be. Look at those relationships and start to write down some of the things about that person, some of the characteristics about that person that are making you hold on. What is it that you're so into about that person? Challenge yourself. Look at that. And then also look at the things that you're missing, because you're probably missing some very core shit, some foundational shit that you need for a relationship to work long term. So think about that, queens. Do a little bit of work, do a little bit of digging. What I'm saying may not apply 100% to everybody. Bits and pieces of it may apply here and there, but I'm telling you, queens, a lot of times when you're looking for certain characteristics, certain attributes, certain personality traits, certain social statuses, certain financial accomplishments, certain career achievements, certain things that you're looking for in a potential spouse, you have to start questioning yourself and asking yourself, am I looking for that? Am I making that demand? Am I chasing people who have that because I'm missing it? And also, let's just say, even if you don't agree with me, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to fulfill yourself with those things that you're looking for. If you're looking for those things in a relationship, try to do those things on your own for yourself. And I guarantee you, I would bet every dollar I have right now, if you fulfilled yourself with the thing that you're looking for, I'm telling you now, it would fall off of your list and you wouldn't even realize it. I mean, do you think that rich people look for someone who has money? Like, do you think that that's a requirement? If you're rich, I mean, filthy rich, do you think it would even be a requirement that the person that you're seeking to be in love with, to be with for the rest of your life, that they are also rich? What point would it serve? You already have more than enough money that you could ever do anything with. Why would you need someone who has the same or more? For what? So that they won't use you? You don't need to pick somebody who has what you have so that they don't use you. You not allowing people to to use you comes from you having boundaries and self-esteem. You don't need to choose a spouse who has what you have so that they don't take what's yours. That's the wrong attitude to go into it from the beginning. You're already on the wrong track, okay? So I'm going to have to make this episode kind of sort of part one because I'm out of time. And this one went really, really deep, and I knew that it would. And so, queens, don't be mad at me, okay? Don't be mad. We may agree, we may disagree. You may see some value in some of the things I've said. You may see some value in all of the things I said. You may see no value. Either way, it's a conversation that we're having with love, with compassion, in an effort to try to help each other grow and help each other evolve. That's where I'm coming from with this always. I'm always open to your opinions. I'm always open to your thoughts. I'm always open to even your criticism. Even if you disagree, that's totally, totally fine. It's just an open conversation. So I hope you got something from this conversation today. Like I said, queens, I really, really, truly do want to hear from you with everything in me. So please comment on this post on Instagram with your thoughts, or DM me, or email me, or go to the All Queens Army website. And on this particular episode, you can leave a comment. Leave your comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree, because you may have a completely different perspective. And hey, how? I don't know. You could teach me something. I'm always open to learning, to hearing other perspectives and things like that. That's how we grow. So again, with that being said, queens, I love you queens so much. You queens are my heart. I love you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We will be back next week, of course. Make sure you pick up the blog on Thursday morning and then head back over to the podcast next Monday. I love you queens so much. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the All Queens Army podcast. If you want to connect with Breizy Time and the All Queens Army, be sure to follow them on IG and Facebook at All Queens Army. Or head over and check out the All Queens Army YouTube channel. Until next time.